This is Pete McConville from Not So Obvious Watches, and welcome back. I've been on the road for about a week with work, and tomorrow morning I head off for another week for work, which means, and I was worried that I was going to go 2 weeks without any content at all. So I'm going to slam out a really quick video today. So I apologize in advance for the what's probably not going to be the greatest production values and not really what I want to present, but I want to keep something moving. Very quickly, I'm going to react to the reaction to Baselworld, and some of this I'm going to be mentioning stuff that I wanted to put into standalone presentations, but I'm not going to have time. So forgive me if I skip pretty quickly. Okay, the overwhelming reaction to Baselworld was that this was a pretty dud year. There wasn't a lot going on. We really felt the absence of the Swatch Group. And the entire industry and the entire show kind of fell flat. I call bullshit on that. I think this was actually a pretty decent show and a pretty good show for 99% of people that buy watches. If you look at the extremely high end, and in particular if you look at two brands at the very high end, not a huge amount happened. And by that I mean if you look at Rolex and if you look at Patek. Yeah, okay. Patek had an okay show. Rolex was pretty meh. And from those two brands that were kind of okay but not great, the entire show's been sucked out. And like I said, I call BS on that because very few people would actually even buy their watches. If we look at the brands that make watches that most of us will actually buy, this I believe was a pretty good show. The Breitling Super Ocean series was great, and I found it, as someone who lives in that kind of $1,000 to $5,000 price range, a fantastic place to be. The Tag Heuer Octavia lines, super exciting, really nice watches, really nicely finished, some really nice technology going in here, fantastic technology, improving performance, improving fraud protection, improving all sorts of things with those with those carbon composite hairsprings. That's amazing stuff, and it's coming in at an affordable price that you and I can afford. The Seiko stuff cannot be let go. That huge flex we saw from Grand Seiko in introducing their $72,000 platinum model, the massive array of products we got from Grand Seiko in these huge brutalist structured angular monsters, through to these beautifully delicate hand wind spring drive little dress watches, are just gorgeous. We saw Orient turn up for their first Baselworld ever, bringing out something that a lot of people have been asking for, which is a sub 40mm, I think it's 38mm Bambino for the first time ever. Now that's huge news that almost no one is talking about. The Oris Aquas lines are really, really pretty. The new ones, and the new GMT there is gorgeous, not to mention the new Monta Atlas GMT, which is another watch which is just rocketing to the top of my to-do list, and unfortunately crowding that space so much that I just can't afford to buy these all, so I have to make some really hard choices. The Zodiac, not to forget the Zodiac GMT, which again is absolutely stunning, and I really want to get hold of. So really, I think I just quickly rolled off a whole bunch of watches that make this worth doing in the first place. And so to hear people say that it was a dud show and not really that great, I think says more about the expectations of the limits of the expectations of a lot of reviewers than it does actually about the watches that was presented. I think the reaction to this show really shows how myopic so many people have become about what actually constitutes the watch industry. That if one or two brands don't turn up, as far as they're concerned, the entire industry is suffering. Don't be that guy. Be prepared to look beyond the obvious, hence the name of my station. Be prepared to look beyond the obvious. Be prepared to look beyond 2 or 3 big name brands, and you will find amazing value and amazing watches, and we saw a lot of those at Baselworld this year. Was this the greatest show of all time? Absolutely not. We missed the Swatch Group. We missed a whole bunch of other brands that used to go in the past, and I wish we're back there. But don't let anyone tell you this show was a dud. There were a lot of great watches for normal people released, and I think we would all be better served if the mainstream media, instead of simply packing up and walking away when the half dozen mainstream brands they like to focus on aren't performing, actually take the opportunity to look at the brands they don't normally cover. That is my rant. Didn't mean to be a rant, but it's kind of turned out to be one. That's my take on Baselworld. In a sense, the industry feedback that we've seen is the very reason I started this channel and the very reason I call this channel what it is. I hope I've lived up to that so far. Let me know if I haven't. But I will continue to try and look at the watches and the watch industry from a slightly different perspective. I'll continue to try and see things that I fear other people are missing. And if you want to come on that journey with me, please subscribe and join the party. Anyway, that's the end of this. I've been Pete McConville. This has been Not So Obvious Watches, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
But you never know, looking at